Welcome to the King of Iron Fist Tournament 7. Hwoarang. Hwoarang. Get ready for the next battle.
Alright guys, what's up? This is Rebel Talon back with another video. And honestly, I'm just doing this video just for kicks. So I just did a Katarina tutorial and yesterday. And I told you guys I was gonna do another one with Hwoarang. So, if you guys haven't seen my videos yet, you guys can go onto YouTube and you guys can look it up. It's going to be called Just4Kicks Katarina tutorial if you want to learn Katarina, or you can, check out this video. Let's see here. One second. Alright, so before I get too far ahead of myself here, let me just start off by saying that Hwoarang's video is going to be a lot longer than Katarina's video. So if you're not really big on long videos, this isn't going to be for you. However, for those of you who haven't already escaped this video, I do want to point out that this video is going to be extremely in-depth, and there's going to be a lot of points where I end up stopping and explaining stuff, because Hwoarang is a very advanced character. He's probably one of the most advanced characters, and he's also one of the easiest characters to learn as well. But to master him, to really learn him, takes dedication and time. He has well over 130 moves. That's if you don't count his sample combos, his extensions to moves, his doubles to his grabs, and all that other fun jazz. Again, in case you guys haven't seen my video, I do want to point out the number system. Again, I did mention this in the last video, but just in case you haven't seen it, there's a number system. It's called 1 2. It's 1 2 3 4. And the way it works is your one for for PlayStation, your 1's gonna be your square. Your your 2 is gonna be your triangle. Your 3 is gonna be your X. And your 4 is going to be your circle. For Xbox, your 1 is going to be your X, your 2 is going to be your Y, your 3 is going to be your A, and your 4 is going to be your B. There's also a few other things to keep in mind, especially with Hwoarang. It's going to be your quarter circle moves, which is, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, is down, forward, and then forward. And then he also has his forward quarter circle forward moves, which is going to be forward, down, forward, forward. As you can see at the bottom right hand of the screen. And this might be a movement you have to take some time to learn. And also, the thing that makes Hwoarang really valuable is, unlike most of people outside of the Mishima family, Hwoarang is one of the only characters. I'm not going to say the only character, but he is one of the few characters outside of the Mishimas that have the wave dash, crouch dash, or whatever. He's not the only one. I believe people like Raven has it, and I don't really know who else. But this makes him a lot more valuable, mostly because you can literally come out of this move with moves that, you know, really give you the edge, positive edge. Also, Hwoarang does have a few moves with neutral inputs. What a neutral is say, alright, so you have a good example would be his forward 4. So in this case, he would attack to get into his right flamingo stance. But as a neutral, to get into his right flamingo stance without actually doing an attack would be forward 4. Forward neutral 4, my bad. And that's kind of the example I'm talking about. Because as you can see at the bottom right hand of the screen, I hit forward and then 4. I don't hit them both at the same time. So there's completely different actions. And he has a few of those, and I'll get into those later. Before I get too far ahead of myself, I do want to talk about his stances. So Hwoarang has 4 stances, and then he has 2 makeshift stances. I could say makeshift because they're not really stances, but you can get into them easily, and there are moves out of them that you can use which have value to them. But we'll get into those soon. So his first stance is going to be the stance you're seeing him in now. It's his left foot forward. That's exactly how it's referred to. You can even see commands during left stance. So it is considered a stance. And this is his default stance. So even if you're in a different stance, if you duck, he goes into his stance, goes right back into his left stance. And if he gets punched, whether it gets guarded or it hits him, he goes right back into his stance. If you coming out of back turned anything and you turn back around, he goes right back into his left foot forward. So keep that in mind. So to get into any other stance, so first off, to get into his right foot forward stance is going to be 3 plus 4. And the best way, the easiest way I've noticed to remember what stance he's in is going to be watching his hands. As you can see on the right hand, Hwoarang's going to be in his left foot forward, and his hand is in his face. His front hand is in his face. And if you look at the one on the left, he's in right foot forward, and his hand is down by his side. His forward hand is down by his side. And that's how you can initially tell. If that's not really good enough, then that's really the only way you're going to be able to tell what stance he's in. So if you're not really good on picking that stuff up, you're already going to get confused. So another way to, so his other stance is going to be his left flamingo stance. That's going to be forward 3. This is actually pretty decent, just because it has that evasiveness to it, to your opponent's left. And then to get into his right flamingo stance is going to be your forward neutral 4. And just like his going into his left flamingo, going into his right flamingo has that evasiveness to it. Oh, my bad. That evasiveness to it, but to your opponent's right. So let's go ahead and just get into his other makeshift stances. So his first one's going to be just a simple 1 plus 2. It's going to be your right foot forward, back turned. And to get into his other stance is going to be, you can do this in 2 different ways. You can either do 1 plus 2 and 3 plus 4, or you can do 3 plus 4 and then 1 plus 2. And what this does is, either way, it'll put you in left foot forward, back turn. And the best way you can tell that this is left foot forward is, as you can see, the Hwoarangs are now literally mirroring each other. The only difference is that the one on the left is looking at the other Hwoarang. so his head's turned. And that's literally the only big difference between the two. So let's go ahead and get into his key moves, his pokes, and since he has so many of them, I'm going to also be pointing out his moves that get into his stances as well. That's just to kind of try and make this a little faster. So his first real poke is going to be your 1-1. It's a 10 frame startup and it's only -2 on block. It's pretty decent. He does have an extension to this, which is going to be your 1-1-3-3. This is not natural, and any normal Tekken player that's played this anywhere between Tekken 3 to now, if they have any past experience, have seen this particular string from any Hwoarang player. So I'd be very, very cautious on using it. It does have its value since the 3-3 is natural. So even if whether they block it or not, or if they don't block it at all, then you could potentially get all that extra damage. If you do find yourself trying to do this combo, this little string a lot, and it does get blocked or parried a lot, you can always try to psych your opponent out. And when I say that, what I mean is to do something else. Like you do your 1-1 and then somebody already anticipates the low, and you could do 4-2, you could do back 3, you could do down forward 4. The idea is to do a mid. The idea is to do a mid attack to give him that extra damage. My suggestion would be down forward 4. Would be to do down forward 4. Just because it has that quickness to it and it's not entirely punishable. And I'll get more into that here shortly. So your next string is going to be, or your next key, little pokes are going to be your 1-2. That's only -1 on block. And as you guys can see, it does 17 damage, so it's not super, super great. But it does have its uses. And to do these 1-2s is actually going to be the beginning to you actually getting into a flamingo stance. And the easiest possible way to get into flamingo stance, aside from just getting in, aside from his neutral moves, which is going to be your 1-2-3 and your 1-2-4. Your 1-2-3 is going to put you in left flamingo stance, and your 1-2-4 is going to put you in right flamingo stance. So another good fair poke is going to be your, let's see, your 1-2-4-3. This is actually only -8 on block, so it's actually not punishable. I actually been avoiding using this string because I thought it was punishable. It looks like it would be punishable, but it's only -8. So if you try to do something else, you might trade. But I've been finding to do this and then a simple like down 2 to be really effective, because 70% of the people that I've fought, and don't get me specific on the statistics here, after I do the 1-2-4-3, they usually try to do an attack afterwards, so I end up doing down 2, and it usually works out in my favor. But the reason I point this particular string out is